if this or that. There's no such thing. Independence was always a curveball. So we're just learning to catch it, as it were. So to me, it's a significant moment, at least because we commemorate those who fought for it. So people who devalue this, I'm like, you're missing the point. Yes, we are on a journey, isn't it? We're going somewhere, but there were those who started it. When we mark this event, we're really paying homage to them, as it were. So that's why I still take it seriously. It's not that one is still euphoric, joyful as when we were kids, but we just appreciate the symbolism for what it is. Societies need symbols, don't we?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mboj. Ma'am, you have heard from Mr. Mboj talking about symbolism and the need to pay homage to people who actually fought for our independence, the likes of Sadao Kairaba Jawara, Edward Francis Sumo, GST Fire, and many others. I mean, as a Gambian, as a young Gambian, what's the experience like for you, seeing the Gambia celebrating 61st
Like he said, I was going to mention that because it seems like it's been a pretty long time, but really it hasn't been, right? I think it's a very historic moment. It's really an honor to sit here and talk about it. And I think the most important part of it for me is getting to relearn our history because it really took a journey for us to get here. And we have a lot of youngsters that maybe don't really know. So when we have discussions like this, they get to keep up, we get to learn how we got here. The journey it took for us to be here because it was not an easy one. So just really a very significant historic moment.
How do you celebrate it, I mean, when you were going to school?
Independence?
Yeah.
I didn't really celebrate it because like I'm part of the young ones. I would just be at home watching it on TV, seeing people have discussions about it. So getting to sit here today and having a discussion about it is really, it's something.
And Mr. Mboj, when you look at the theme for this year's celebration, it talks about, I mean, harnessing the Gambia's human capital and infrastructure resources for an inclusive leap to prosperity. What's your take on this theme?
Absolutely. Well, I guess it's as good as anybody else's. These are abstractions. Obviously, our most important asset, that's the people. That's us. So it's a question of, if I have this theme to form my vision, as it were, so what actions would it lead me to? I think that is the crucial bit. But when it comes to like forming visions, we all do that. It's just been very difficult practicalizing it, as it were. So that is the key. So with these themes, well, we had one last year and before that. So you're always gonna have these themes. I think the moment, what the moment deserves is a kind of taking stock. Where actually are we?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the big question.
Yes.
Yeah. Where are we?
Yes.
Where are
can we have a proper appraisal of really where we are? Perhaps not being too sentimental or being too emotional. You know what I mean? An analysis rooted in the reality of our situation, isn't it?
As we are seeing on our screens, that seems to be the Inspector General of Police. I mean, Sidi Mukhtar Job, we are arriving at the Makati Square. I mean, you are seeing our fine men and women in uniform, Mam Nabu, I mean, ready to give us that, I mean, usual parade. I mean, this year's parade will be led by Parade Commander Lieutenant Colonel Ambrose Da Costa, who is going to lead the parade this year. I mean, last year we had, I mean, Armando Jata, who was the parade commander. Years before that, we had Abdullah Jata, who is now the current state guard commander at the State House. And before him, you know, we had Abdullah Mbop, the late Abdullah Mbop, who actually also served as State Guard Commander at the State House. Mam Nabu, you are seeing those beautiful images on your screen.
Wonderful, wonderful images. But I was just going to talk to Mr. Mboj about something he mentioned that is very important, about how we're talking about harnessing human capital and how we got to where we are today. How can we move forward? But just to go back to where we started, let's go back to history. How has colonial rule in the Gambia had a ripple effect to today, to where we are, and how has it shaped how we practicalize building human capital? Because we've seen that colonial rule has built a lot of segregation, there was a lot of bias, there was a lot of marginalization, and Gambians were basically put in a cage where they were diminished to a point where they could not preserve their livelihoods, their heritage. So what sort of ripple effect do you think that has had long term? How has this affected us?
Well,
we'll come back to that.
Just arriving, I mean, at the Makati Square, that seems, I can get the... Oh, that's the Chief Justice of the Gambia, Justice Hassan B. Jallo. You know, Mr. Mboch, I mean, the Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallo has also arrived at the Makati Square, and like I said, I mean, any moment from now, the Gambian President Adama Barrow will also arrive to preside over what is going to be his 10th, you know, independence as president. He's going to preside this for the 10th time since he was elected in 2017. So, Mr. Mboch, I mean, you have heard from Mam Nabu talking about, I mean, the ripple effect of, I mean, colonialism. I mean, talking about how, you know, we were put in a cage, and suddenly, you know, our minds comes to the likes of Edward Francis, which we knew what happened. I mean, at some point, understand, he even went on exile. He was trying to use the media to advocate for Gambia to gain independence. So, Mr. Mboch.
The colonial effect, even before Edward Francis Small, something else happened, which was very important way back in the sort of 1860s, 1870s. Francis Small came round really perhaps in the 1920s.
Yeah.
What were the colonial structures like, as it were? You remember that, when do we go back to? Where would we begin? 1816, when the founding of Bathurst, as it were? Or would it be before that, in the 1700s, when you had all this fighting between the French, the British, the Dutch even came. I even heard that even the Latvians were here at one point. So we had all of that, didn't we? But then around perhaps 1795 or so, the Brits really took over the state from the merchants. Before, they used to give all these merchants royal charters, as it were, for trade to do all of that. But more politically, they took over, really, around 1795. But what made it more important for them was 1807, they abolished slavery.
Yeah.
So Charles McCarthy, talking about McCarthy Square, he was the governor in Sierra Leone. He advised the British government to buy Combo St. Mary so that they will have access to that estuary. So, you mean the colonial effect? So the whole organization was to benefit the colonizer. Everything was organized that way. You had the governor, and then you had legislative council or executive councils. They were all Europeans, mind you. And then they were just taking decisions based on their own interests. So there wasn't much money for development. They didn't think about that. All the revenue was merely to run the administration.
Right.
Be able to run yourselves. We don't want to give you any more money. So nothing was going on until 1943, when Roosevelt came to Banjul, couldn't believe it. He called us that hellhole.
Hellhole.
Disease, hardly any education, the place was just dirty. This was in 1943. You realize? So by the time we sort of got independence, really, same structures were really running the place. We never radically changed the structures of governance, as it were. So the extractive nature, because they were just here to take, then the local elites who took over, they just continued that extractive nature.
Right.
So nothing really changed. It was as if we changed personnel, as it were. But nothing really changed. And the disadvantages were just too much, weren't they? Being part of a world economy where you only sell primary commodities, you are not changing them to anything. What resources you have? Peanuts. You know, you were not even supposed.
Yeah, you mention that because it was a cash crop back in the day, right? I mean, they found Gambians farming rice, they found Gambians farming other things, but they came and dismantled all of that and made groundnut a cash crop. That has to be.
They brought over groundnut, but be careful. During that period, was there really something called the Gambia? The Gambia as we know it today was really consolidated around British rule. Remember that Gambia referred to the river. Only afterwards became the territory.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it defines us so much. That's why we are like a kind of river-centric. We have this river-centric name, the Gambia, because really, The river was the artery of trade, transport, settlement. Everybody settled around there. That is why, really.
Well, Mr. Mboch, there you have the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable C.D. Njai, also, making his way to the McCarthy Square. And I understand former vice presidents, including, lawyer Usainu Dabo, are all at the McCarthy Square at the moment, to witness this important occasion. But number for you, how important is it, seeing, former vice presidents like Usainu Dabo, despite their political difference with President Barrow, they are all coming together on a day like today?
That's what I like about the Gambia. We all have political differences, but at the end of the day, we all want the benefit of our nation. And when it comes to celebrating a historic day like this, it's not about political differences. It's not about what we like or what we hate or what we love. We are here for the country. We are celebrating a historic significance that's happening. So seeing them here today, it's actually very motivating. It's very inspiring. And I think it's expected.
Well, guests are still arriving, at the McCarthy Square. Like I said, you are watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue, but equally getting live images from the McCarthy Square, where Gambians are celebrating, the 61st independence anniversary since we gained independence from British rule on this day, on 18 February 1965. That's, also on Q Radio on 103.3. I think that's the Chief of Defense Staff, Masane, Mamad Ocham there. you have arriving at the McCarthy Square. But Mr. Mboch, comme Lindon Waktane rek, tay bes bu magala, in terms of the history of this country. Why biñ doon ut independence, be even biñ ko doon am sax ñu bari ñu ngi doon lam-lame. That this was a country that was na yore bopam. Tay ñu am bes bu melni am nga after 61 years.
You're welcome, sir.
Fan lañ nekk, Mr. Mboch?
Well,
as an independent country.
The lowest and greatest achievement. We are still existing as an independent state. That is a massive achievement. They can forgo one. Amun dara. Until 1963 or so, UN you sent a group led by somebody called Homanako von Mook to do a study whether you're viable as a state. ñëpp a ngi wax ne mukk Gambia mënu koo def, li xam nga ni mu tuutee amuloo population bi amuloo anything, so waaye ñun suñ politicians si bañ te fii sa soo xoolee woon politics around that time maybe in the 1950s ñoom Gaba Jahumpa ñoom J.C. Faye moom moo njëkk a form sa political party fii Pierre Sanjay, so am na ñu laa wax ne that group ñoom ñoo gënoon a bëgg a pour ñu close Sénégal, ñu bari doon expect ne Sénégal daf ñoo absorb anyway. So Jawara, nekk slightly younger, I think, ñoo ne no. He was the one who don't keep the refuse. And in fact, that battle, so dafa yaaga door de. The French and the English yaaga nañ di wax yëfi Gambia from 1866 onwards. ñu ngeen ne dañ ko exchange at one point, so ñu ngi doon wax ne dañoo joxe Gambia français jox ñu jox anglais Ivory Coast. Can you imagine? You can make like French, you like Anglais. So this is it. So throughout yang am this to and fro. I'm on in Bathurst. Of course, the reactions were too much.
Which is
I'm
now
on a
Banjul.
family. I'm on a having census and dom with them like a lawyer. Who you defend. You have an association called Gambia Native Association. You form a petition. 500 people signed it. Send it to London. No, we don't want to go French. So it was precarious from 1860s, 1870s, 1880s, perhaps even 1890s. But in your fate, what you know, as it were. Yeah. So this is really the key. Our existence was always precarious. Really, as late as was it 1963 or slightly earlier than that, the Secretary of Colonies, Munge Wahane, well, we are willing to grant Gambia independence so we can find a satisfactory accommodation, a satisfactory way of joining with Senegal. Can you imagine? Giving us independence was dependent on that. So people, you very really, how many one, it wasn't given. Munon na amdu deme ni de. Ken amuton hope. Ne didn't survive, but us.
Mr. Bojafa, I have a question. It might sound a little bit ridiculous, but you were talking about all of these political parties that existed back in the day, starting with the 1951 political party that was formed by Reverend J.C. Faye. Then we had Garba Jahumpa, we had PNJ, we had Sadauda, who was the youngest, I guess, amongst, had the youngest party. My question is, why him? We had all of these older parties, but he was the one that was chosen. Why is that?
Well, it was just the moment. Remember that they formed the party in 1959. By then, there was Governor Winley, wasn't he? So we had universal suffrage in 1960. But then, remember that before, all the politics was within the colony. That's Bathurst and Comber St. Mary's. The protectorate, that's what we call the provinces right now, no politics whatsoever. So, but then, all these Bathurst-centered parties, once universal suffrage came in, the bulk of the population living in the provinces, that was the change. Radically there. You realize that J.C. Faye and Jahumpa realized late and then tried to form a party to offset that challenge. But it didn't work because of that force, as it were, that avalanche, as it were, of the newly enfranchised. So for the first time, anybody over 21 could vote. It was 1960. You see, the Protectorate People's Party, at first it was called 59. It was formed in 1959. So the other 51, 54. So it was really in the 50s that we had this political activity, this flurry of activity. But again, all over the continent, though. Remember, there was something going on all over the continent. We were just part of it. Perhaps going back a bit slightly earlier, 1945, the Manchester Conference, Pan-African Conference.
Yes, I was going to
that
mention
was
that.
really where they really cooked, if I can put it that way, the independence of
and the nationalist movement too. We talk about the National Congress of British West Africa, which was also very important, and gave us that important quote by Edward Francis Moore, where he was like, taxation without representation.
Absolutely. So this was in the 1920s. He went to Ghana for the inaugural conference. So when he came back, he formed a Banjul chapter. Even though that will fizzle out later, but you realize that's why they call him the father of modern politics.
But when you look at our journey to independence, I mean, the Gambia was a bit different from other countries. Other countries, it was revolutionary. But in the Gambia, it was different. Why?
Well, we had no resources. There was really nothing at stake. Way too small. You know what I mean? We were the last, really, to have independence in British West Africa. We were really the last by 1965. They all had their independence. So we never struggled, and we had a moderate leader. So we remained friends with the
And even with the independence, the sovereignty we had wasn't absolute at the time. Took about 5 years before we got there.
Well, constitutional monarchy.
Well, viewers, you are once again reminded that you are watching QTV, the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue and getting live images from the Makati Square in Banjul, where the Gambian leader, President Adama Barrow, is presiding over the Gambia's 61st independent anniversary. It was exactly on this day, like I said, I mean, that the Gambia gained independence from the British rule. I mean, it was on this day that the Union Jack was lowered and the Gambian flag hoisted, I mean, to grant this country, I mean, independence. Badingol Melbe QTV Jobe kan hani saying be live broadcast natika aliye comme al nyabal ala screen auto wala be kering Makati Square la melon ko I mean banko nyaton ko President Adama Barrow anyanta ka mabe Gambia la 61st independence anniversary juralo mi alon ko wala nyanta kala bi Makati Square comme nga fala nyame ñu lungolem 1965 February 18 that Gambia fansoto covering tubabol sonta pour ka independence di Gambia la bimbe wala jura kan comme al nyabal ala screen to wala mu al na fine men and women in uniform wala be parade kela Makati Square this year dung membe parade commander wala mu lieutenant colonel Ambrose da Costa adla mu parade commander nyinti pour match pass men nyinta kela Makati Square comme nga fala nyam nyintemento mo jama proje senior government officials nga minister je nga former vice president je ñoo wala mu Ousseynou NM Daboti mais naka anakara vice president afama be je nyintemben deputy speaker ngate fanan je Sidi SK Njai anin kara chief justice of the Gambia Justice Hassan B Jallow and I mean other security chiefs will be present on Makati Square ka banko nya don ko batu pro nanan ka kamabe ñing celebration membe ke kan Banjul mbokk nga mi ina ngi seetaan QTV ba léegi rek di leen xamal ne ina ngi seetaan QTV di leen indil li nga xam ne moo nekk special live broadcast comme ni leen ko amee rek teel a Gambia di màggal 61 years gannaaw bu moomee boppam am independence from British rule comme ni ma ko waxee rek it was on this day 18 February 1965 that Gambia moom boppam gannaaw bu ñu jógee li nga xam ne moo nekk mbuumi jaam mi nga xam ne tubaab yi ñoo fi nekkoon yore réew mi waaye 18 February 1965 si la Gambia moom boppam gannaaw bi ñu demee back and forth ak tubaab bi ba gis ne moom nañ suñu boppa tey nag bés la boo xam ne foo ñu delloo suñu xel ñu jéem a delloo njukkal ñi nga xam ne ñoo jiite woon xeex bi pour mën a gis ne Gambia moom na boppam ku mel ni ñoom Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara les Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara ki nga xam ne moo nekkoon first prime minister and also first president of this country maas ñoom JC Faye ak ñeneen so tey nag bés bu am solo la moo tax tey ñu indi leen lii pour ngeen mën a xam lépp loo xam ne mu ngay xaw fale ca Banjul fi nga xam ne comme ni ma ko waxee rek si jamono ji ñu bari teew nañ gis naa fa ay cabinet ministers certainly former vice presidents ku mel ni Ousseynou NM Dabo nga ne moo nekk di jiite United Democratic Party moom tam mu ngi fa gis naa fa deputy speaker Sidi SK Njai ak nga ne moo nekk chief justice Hassan B Jallow ñëpp teew nañ foofu noonu di xaar pour njiiti réew mi président Barrow egsi pour war a jiite li nga xam ne moo nekk celebration bi nga xam ne moom moo war a am tey ci Makati Square comme noonu ko xamee rek this year nag dafa nekk low key parce que xam nga raay na ñu ngi si dugg nañ si weeri koor bi tey Mr Mbodj ak ñoom Maam Nabu xam nga moo tax tey énergie bi nekkul ba dat moj ak bu doon fekk Mr Mbodj bu amee cash copy am bi waaye Maam Nabu comme yaa ngi wax lu am solo balaa ma doon just interject noonu yaa ngi doon about issue of republic ñu bari ñu ngi laa wane okay we actually gained our independence in 1970 not even 1965 Mr Mbodj this debate has been going on because even when we gained our independence in 1965
we were still under a constitutional monarchy.
We just had a prime minister.
Yes, that is a point, of course. Khalifa, God bless him, he's always sort of insisted that really real independence was in 1970. Yes, that's when we became republic. One can understand that. But it is the symbolism of the Duke of Kent, His Royal Highness, the Duke of Kent, handing over the constitutional instruments.
On behalf of the Queen.
And that's it, absolutely. The symbolism of giving you back, as it were, yourselves, really. Because in effect, we were in charge. The monarch was just ceremonial. It's just like what happens with Britain right now. They have a king, but the king has no power whatsoever. It's all Downing Street, not Buckingham Palace, as it were, in every sense of the word. So it was really something like that here. There's really nothing else to the to follow former colonial masters, as it were, we used to call them. So we had vested effective power. So the rest, I don't think is significant, really. I'll still live with 18 February 1965. So even if somebody wants to give it to, is it April 24, 1970? You may do so.
April 24th, yeah.
You may do so.
We talk about moving from there. What kind of policies that Jawara had that, like you were talking about how Gambia at the time really didn't really have anything to depend on. We were really fragile. So the kind of policies that he had that kind of helped him carry the country to where he did, What can you tell us about that, Mr. Mboj?
From 65, for the first decade or so, economically, it didn't do badly.
Right.
Yes, there was high output, and with commodity prices, they were high. We had a good harvest, good bumper, bumper harvest as they call it, and the prices in the world markets, that was going all fine. Really, the economy was growing by 4.5%. I think things were going well. Low inflation until mid-70s. First, there was an oil crisis. There was the Sahelian drought, as it were. And afterwards, people will tell you that maybe afterwards there was too fast an expansion of the public sector. So you had all these sort of headwinds, external shocks, combined with perhaps policies that we shouldn't have had. There were policy errors. So you realize that by the mid-70s, coming on to the 80s, things were really very difficult. Hence, possibly, the 1981 failed coup.
I was going to come to that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Because the 1981 coup did actually significantly lead to the Senegambia Confederation as well.
Which later collapsed.
So,
actually
I mean, this was Kukai Samba Sanyang, who was obviously motivated by very Pan-Africanist ideas. He had really Marxist ideas as well. So we did end up getting the Senegambia Confederation out of it. But what was the motivation behind that coup, which was quite bloody? We could say the economic crisis.
There was that bit, and maybe that was the copycat element, maybe. Well, according to Tijan Sala of the World Bank, is written in one.
Well, Mr. Mboj, I mean, there we have the First Lady of the Republic, Fatimata Barrow, and Lady Sajambala Barrow, where, arriving at the Makati Square in Banjul. Madingol Yintamento Banco Nyatankola Musafulolu, Fatimata Barrow, and Lady Sajambala Barrow, wale Putanang Makati Square. Si jamono ji nak mën nañu wax ne nga xam ne moo nekk First Lady Fatimata Barrow ak Lady Sajambala Barrow ñoom tam egsi nañ ci Makati Square bi ci Banjul. xam naa comme ni ma ko waxee rek du yàgg inshallah njiiti réew mi président Barrow dina egsi ci Makati Square bi. Mr. Mboj,
yeah. Please go ahead.
Sona si egsi nañ.
Okay. Oh yes, now.
I said be nice, huh?
Oh, absolutely, they're very much now part of it. Yes. Whereas with our time, I don't think anybody used the term First Lady. It just wasn't.
They didn't?
It just didn't exist.
Really?
No, nobody used it. The whole idea of a First Ladydom afterwards, I think, sort of became sort of trendy, as it were. But the original first generation of leaders, once we were growing up, we just didn't use it.
Yeah, things change now. This is Gen Z. This is Gen Z.
But funnily enough, the idea of a first lady, very quickly, it was really invented by media people in the U.S. The first person to be called First Lady was Abraham Lincoln's wife,
yeah.
Mary Lincoln. And they were being ironic.
Well, Mr. Mboj, there now we have the Vice President, Mohamed B.S. Jallow, also arriving. Baringo Nitemeto Banco Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow, wale fanang bepudakan ng Makati Square, Banyo Nintambeng. Mr. Mboj, Vice President, Naps.
Very great imagery right there. Good to see him. Mr. Mboj, just to take us back to what we were talking about, the 1981 coup, would you say it is what led to the economic recovery program that we later had, the ARP?
No, I think that was because of this expansionist stuff, and the economy wasn't growing as it should, and you were spending so much, and then we nearly went bankrupt.
Right.
So we had to do the ERP. Otherwise, you're not going to get any credit and that sort of thing. So that was it. That was why, really, that happened. But the 1981 coup, yes, there were difficulties all over, but there was also this sort of copycat effect. Liberia, Samuel Doe had just had a coup in Liberia, and Jerry Rawlings in Ghana, and these people with their Marxist, Leninist rhetoric. In fact, with Kukoy, God, I can still hear him. I remember the 1981 coup very well. Down with imperialism, down with neo-imperialism, and all that kind of talk. So, yes, there was some disaffection. One wouldn't deny that, especially how important is this when they killed Ekomahoni, who was the head of the field force, to show you that there was resentment within. You know, we had a paramilitary police called the field force. Okay. I think formed, what, in 1958, something like that.
So, Mr. Boch, I understand my colleague Usman Jatta is now on the line from Makati Square. Usman, if you can hear us loud and clear, I mean, give us, what's the latest update, I mean, from the Makati Square at the moment? Usman. Well, we will try to reconnect with our colleague Usman Jatta. Mr. Boch, I mean, like we were discussing, I mean, I just want to take you a little back. I mean, when Sir Dawda led that powerful delegation to the Marlborough Conference, it was the defining moment for this country's independence. What message they went with to defend the case that we needed to be independent?
1964, well, we just refer to, well, people having the right to self-determination.
That was a powerful delegation, huh?
Absolutely. All of them. Sheriff Mustafa Diba, Jesse Faye, in fact, he was the liaison officer. He went before them.
Sheriff Singate.
Yes, Kalilu Singate. I think MC Cham was there as well. And there was Rachel Palmer, who was a woman, well, the wife of Dr. Palmer. Dr. Palmer Westfield, you know, where we got Westfield Clinic. That's where we've got Westfield there, and then the Peters. So absolutely, it was a very, very powerful delegation. I am Burang John and others, yes. So many people were there. But by then, the Brits knew that the game was up in many ways, because other other colonies had already been given their independence. So we had the Gambia Independence Act 1964. And who signed it? Sheriff Sekuba Sise and Sir Dawda on our behalf. And on the other side, Duncan Sanders, somebody called Duncan Sanders, he was the secretary of the colonies then, and somebody else, was it Lord Lansdowne, something like that. So that was it. That's when they set the date, and that's it, on the 18th of February. The following year, you'll have your independence.
Yeah. And I'm gonna.
All right. So, Naps, I'll come back to you. Let's now connect with our colleague Usman Jatta, who's currently at the Makati Square in Banjul. Usman, if you can hear us loud and clear, please give us a picture of how the Makati Square is at the moment.
Thank you so much for having me on the program. It's a festive moment at the Makati Square here. The parade is on standby, and the members of the public as well are all on standby, waiting for the historic moment. That is the Gambia's 64th independence celebration, which is taking place today. A historic day for the fact that it coincided with the holy month of Ramadan and the Lent of the Christians as well. So everyone is on high alert, waiting for the arrival of His Excellency President Adama Barrow to kickstart the event, which will start shortly in a while. It's a very important day as it reflects the country's independence, which was attained in 1965 when the Gambia gained its independence from colonial rule from the British colonial masters. So it's a very significant day for the Gambia today. But today's celebration is unlike the other previous celebrations. It's almost a key, low-key celebration that it is held in the holy month of Ramadan and equally as well the Lent of the Christians. So it's a very important day here at the Makati Square, and everyone is standby waiting for the arrival of President Adama Barrow. The Vice President and key dignitaries have all arrived, and from all other countries like Mali, Nigeria, they are all available here on the ground, all waiting for the arrival of their host, President Barrow, to formally begin the event.
So thank you very much, Usman Jata. They are giving us the latest update from the Makati Square. Mr. Mboch, you have had Usman Nabu talking about, guests from Mali, Nigeria. This time there's no head of state. We used to have the John and others all coming, but it's different this time. But now it seems,
No,
there's a point that you wanted to exhaust.
Going to make a point because we are always talking about the founding fathers of our nation, but do we talk about the founding mothers as well?
So Mr. Mboch, you have heard from Usman. It seems, like I said, it's a low key, but at least, we will have been expecting maybe Jomai, who is just next door to attend.
Well, you just never know for whatever reason. Yeah. Perhaps they
or maybe they have sent a rep as well.
Yes, and maybe they've also decided. Yeah. People suspected a long time back that our independence would possibly fall in Ramadan. You know what I mean? Yeah, sort of. You kind of suspected. So that would be part of the planning. You wouldn't sort of want to create any kind of jamboree or anything like that. So low-key, no disrespect. I don't see anything wrong with it. Even having said that, when we were younger, we were just used to every independence, you'll get a president. So we got to see a good number of presidents. We've seen Sekou Touré, William Talbot, so we used to see a good number of presidents every Independence Day.
That's right.
Yes, mbokk ñi yéen a seetaan QTV rek di leen xamal ne QTV la ñu ngi leen li nga ne moo nekk live coverage ñu ngi tam on Q Radio 103.3 am na ñam te ñu ngi toppa ci si social media bi on Facebook ak YouTube at QTV Gambia kon ma leen ko waxee rek teel a Gambia di màggal li nga ne moo nekk 64th independence anniversary bu yàggoo rek dégg ngeen sama naataango Ousmane Diatta mu ngi wax ne ñu bari arrive nañu at the moment comme ku mel ni Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow soxna si nga xam ne moo nekk First Lady Fatimata Bah Barrow ak Lady Sadio Mbala Barrow cabinet ministers yaa ngi fa Deputy Speaker CDSK Ndiaye Chief Justice Hassan B Jallow ak ñeneen ñëpp teew nañ di xaarandiku rek pour président bi moom tam mu egsi pour apprécier li nga xam ne moo nekk di independence celebration bi comme ni nga ko xamee tey la weeru koor bi commencé das live image loolu biir State House la def mel ni convoy bi léegi tey mu départ xam naa tey moom su ko neexee sax mun na koo dox Mr Mbodj jógee State House ñëw si square bi su ko neexee sax mun na koo dox xam nga moom dafa bëgg exercise training so su ko neexee sax mun na koo dox so loolu moo nekk di am tey fale ca Makati Square fi nga xam ne foofu lañ ekkati woon flag Gambia bi pour wane ne Gambia moom na boppam Gambia am na boppam Mr Mbodj those are the live images mbadi ngol temento comme al nyabal ala screen auto banko nyatonko ala convoy wala be depart kan State House pour kada dula mel ko lemu Makati Square that's the Lady Sadio Mbala Barrow kooku lañ nekk di gis noonu si screen bi ak Chief Justice Hassan B Jallow suma jumutee ñoom ñoo nekk noonu si screen bi comme ni ma leen ko waxee rek du yàgga président Barrow dina egsi fii ci Makati Square pour witness nga ne moo nekk independence celebration comme noonu leen ko xamee rek tey la weeru koor bi commencé suñ mbokki chrétien ñoom tam tey lañ commencé seen land bi so dafa nekk lan ni dafa nekk low key event fale ca Makati Square waaye lu am solo moo nekk ne tey ñu ngi màggal bés bi waaye tam pour delloo suñu xel di fàttali ko nga xam ne ñoo bokkoon si xeex bi pour mën a gis ne Gambie mën a boppam kooku moo dafa mel ni Fatimata Jallow Tamba Jang moom tam mu ngi fa so Mr Mbodj the president is now leaving the State House to the Makati Square where he is going to deliver a statement. What sort of a statement are you expecting from him, Nabu, this year? It's an election year, very crucial, Mr Mbodj. Nabu, what's your expectation? What sort of a statement are you expecting from the president?
I expect him to make a very powerful statement. Like you said, it's election year and he's recently been on his nationwide tour. And he's let us know of the developments he's made over the years when it comes to, in terms of electricity. We've recently discovered that we now have 90% access to electricity.
Even the village is electrified now, Nabu.
Which is absolutely incredible. He's talked about the thousands of kilometers of roads that he's built. So I expect him to make a statement telling us if he happens to be elected in 2026, where is he going to take us next?
Mr. Mboj? This could be his last independence as president. You can never tell. It's election.
You just absolutely, you just never know.
You can never tell. So, what are you expecting? What sort of a statement? What?
Absolutely.
Or if you were to prepare his statement, independence statement, Mr. Mboj, what's going to be okay?
Mine would be slightly different. Because with independence, I wouldn't want to sound too party political.
Right.
I would want to rise above that kind of fray.
Yeah.
We'll have ample time between now and December. I have lots of other platforms where I can do that. Yeah. But for the sake of the independence, just as you said earlier, we saw Usain Udabo, he said, and all the opposition figures and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So my rhetoric, my language will appeal more to the nation and not try to score any party political points.
Right.
That is not for today. But of course, what we used to...
I mean, Mr. Mboj, I mean, does the presidential convoy, does the president there in his motorcade, I mean, waving at the crowd? You know, at some point we thought, I mean, maybe, you know, many people wouldn't come out because it's Ramadan, but, I mean, I'm surprised to see that, I mean, the pavilions are filled. So, I mean, that's the president there, I mean, in his vehicle, I mean, raising, waving at the crowd. So agee rek dafa inspect guard of honor bi ñu am parade bi bala mu address li nga xam ne moo nekk, I mean, audience, including, I mean, school going children. I'm sure dañ fa nekk high school yi dañ fa nekk pour march pass ak yeneen, I mean, cultural groups yi nga xam ne ñoo jógee from different part of the country. Comme ni ma leen ko waxee rek si jamono ji président bi egsi na ci Makati Square, comme ni ma leen ko nekk di gisee rek gaa ñu ngi koy escort, xam naa su wàccee rek dafa inspect guard dafa inspect parade bi bala ñoom tamit ñu def seen march pass dan after mu soog a address nation bi.
li ma xool noonu very interesting li ñoo gis rek mooy soldat yi mooy uniform security forces.
loolu la bëggoon laaj sax because mu njëkk ba
ñun suñ time ni kon doo gis a single military person, all school children.
So it's like it's being more militarized now.
That was during Jammeh's period. That turn, as it were,
I think back in the day we see more of the youths, more of the school children and
boys and girls.
Yeah.
That was the refrain
of
Sadauda. Absolutely. So there's been a change of vibe, a change of focus because of the militarization that we had, you know, in the Second Republic that has carried over.
I was going to drag you slowly back to that.
Yes, it has carried over to this. That is why it's just turned to a more militarized form of celebrating our independence. One would have thought that perhaps they would try to sort of claw something from the Jawara era, but I guess that one is dead. Now it's not the school children, it's the men in uniform, the security men in uniform, I suppose.
Takes you back to 1994, doesn't it? This is, let's say, 30 years after Jawara has ruled. The coup, the 1994 coup. How has it changed the trajectory of the Gambia?
Oh, that
especially when it comes to the militarization, like you were talking about just now.
Yes, and everything else, the culture that we had. Wow. The former queen of Britain, Queen Elizabeth, in 1992, called it annus horribilis, the horrible year. I call 1994 our
the horrible year.
Yeah, I call 1994 our annus horribilis. Because in the sense, the person who came along, yes, talking about rampant corruption and all the rest of it, yes, there were good things that Jawara built. Everybody realized that. If he had taken that, and the terrible stuff, there were things that were not working, and you try to change it, and you add on to that, that would have shown, I don't know, honesty and everything. But the behavior afterwards, it was just came to vandalize everything. the good name we had with our democracy, respect for human rights, they were all destroyed. And the so-called rampant corruption, oh my God, who is more corrupt than that one? So it just destroyed a good number of things that we have.
Well, Mr. Mboch, I mean, the president, si jamono ji wàcc na si otam bi, gannaaw bi mu agsi na gis na ne Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow moo ko receive ak yeneen senior government officials yi. President bi ñin tamit sa fona putana Makati Square, kabere putana na banko Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow wale ya receive ñin tamit ibe tamba kang pour kara Alpha Balbe Sirin Damento ngala ñi president pour dron ko nga fa ñamin abe paret ñi inspect la wala be kere ñin tamento musi am do joni president Adama Barrow o hewti toto Makati Square ndo hewti non ko nganda ko dum woni Vice President Mohamed G.S. Jallow ko kanko wadi mo receive do joni president homo yade to ngada ko ton kilifa be jodi bayan so wetti ma rek o wadat inspect ngada ko dum woni paret o si parade hinga inshallah be wadat my patch after o wada address national. Well, we need to link to the Makati Square to hear what is happening. Let's take a listen. Well, that was the national anthem, I mean, by fine men and women in uniform. I mean, after the president arrived there, I mean, Mr. Mboch, I mean, Ghana president mu ex gis na ne guy tegal nga ne moo nekk national anthem bi mu nekk anthem bu am solo comme ni ma leen ko waxee rek at bi nag parade commander bi Lieutenant Colonel Ambrose Dacosta la moom moo nekk parade commander bi at bi waaye Mr. Mboch dama gis ne for the past 4 years yëpp góor mu lay nekk parade commander. Have you observed that? Nabu, I'm not for muy xalaate xam naa ko no.
I was thinking it.
Huh?
I was thinking it. Is there a reason why?
Hopefully next year dañ am jigéen, Mr. Mboch.
Yes, I mean, we are living in such times, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Gender inclusion, right?
Well, yes, that's the idea, isn't it? We are more animated, I think, now by the idea, but we've been very slow in making moves.
Right.
Well, we are in the right direction. If I can be so diplomatic.
Well, parce que xam naa ne 2023 Abdoulaye Mboup la woon 2024 ñu am Abdoulaye Ba ñu am right now moo nekk state guard commander bi last year ñu am suma friend Armando Diatta moo nekkoon parade commander bi at bi ñu ngi am Ambrose Dacosta.
I like to believe we'll get there.
Hopefully.
I'd like to believe we'll get there.
Hopefully. So right now president bi gannaaw bi ñu tegee li nga xam ne mooy national anthem bi jël na toogaam bi mu ngi toog xam naa ne du yàgga rek dina dellusiwaat pour def li nga xam ne moo nekk parade bi su defee parade bi pare après inspect parade bi dinañ am li nga xam ne moo nekk march past bi xam naa ñu bari na foofu lañ dee xaar Mr. Mboch march past sun men and women boobu moom is always extra.
Yes, it makes sort of nice spectacle, isn't it, Secretary?
Because I'm not going if there's one thing that the white people has left us with is march past.
Well, the Brits, especially.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we go back to Makati Square? I think they're praying.
الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. حرمة اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره وبقدار العظيم بسر الفاتحة وصلاة الفاتح وببركته وبحرمته وبحق أسمائك الحسنى كلها ما علمنا منها وما لم نعلم وبخاصة قاصة اسمك العظيم الأعظم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم العلي العظيم وإلهكم إله واحد لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وعنت الوجوه للحي القيوم وعنت الوجوه للحي القيوم أسألك يا رب يا ربنا بركة اللهم أنت أمرتنا بدعائك وأعدتنا بإجابتك وقد دعوناك كما أمرتنا فأجبنا كما وعدتنا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تحفظ بلادنا غامبيا وفي مقدمتهم رئيسنا الحاج آدم برو وحكومته وشعبه. اللهم احفظ غامبيا، اللهم اجعلها بلدا آمنا مطمئنا ياتيها رزقها من كل مكان برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. فاتحة.
Amin Allah, Amin Ya Rabbal Alameen. May I also respectfully invite His Lordship Bishop of Banjul, Gabriel Mendy, CSSP, to lead us in the Christian prayers.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. All-powerful God, creator of heaven and earth, on this day we celebrate our country's 61st independence anniversary that happily coincides with the beginning of Lent and the month of Ramadan. We present our nation and ourselves to you and ask for your forgiveness, blessing, guidance, and protection. May we always live in mutual harmony and respect for one another. You answered the prayers of the citizens and leaders of our country in their quest for independence. So we gather here once again to express our gratitude and reaffirm our faith and hope in you as the origin and source of our independence, freedom, peace, and progress. We pray that you will continue to protect and preserve the Gambia and its peoples from danger, violence, hatred, and divisions. Keep us safe in your care from the evil one and its agents, and inspire and empower each of us to follow your ways and work for the success, stability, and welfare of our nation and humanity as a whole. May we always experience your protection and assistance and our oneness and unity in you as your children, regardless of our religion, our tribe, our ethnicity, our political affiliation and background. As we celebrate our nationhood today, we pray in a special way for our president, His Excellency Damabaro and his family, his Vice President, Cabinet Ministers, the Chief Justice, and members of the Judiciary, the Speaker and members of Parliament. You appointed them to direct the affairs of this country and work for the common good and the benefits of its citizens. So we implore you to guide, sustain, and strengthen them so that they will execute their duties with integrity and dedication, justice, sincerity, and the fear of God. Grant them good health, peace, happiness, and success in their public life of service to our nation. We commend into your care the security forces and health workers of our country who committed themselves to maintain law and order and protect and preserve our lives, that you will defend them from every physical and spiritual attack of the enemy. Bless and assist our children, our students, youth, workers, the citizens of our country. Grant them the knowledge and the resources they need to succeed and be law-abiding citizens. And may you fulfill their hopes and aspirations in life. We make this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Lord, answer our prayers. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of the Gambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Forces, Mr. Adama Barrow, Your Excellency, the First Lady, Madam Fatoumata Babaro, Your Excellency, Lady Sajo Balobo, Excellency, the Vice President, Mohammed B.S. Jallo, Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, His Lordship, the Chief Justice of the Gambia and senior judges here present, Her Lordship, the Mayor of Banjul, and His Lordship of Granyov, former Vice Presidents of the Republic, Your Excellency, President of the ECOWAS Commission, Secretary to Cabinet and Head of the Civil Service, Honorable Cabinet Ministers present, Honorable Ministers of the African countries here present, Honorable Members of the National Assembly and members of the Judiciary, Your Excellencies, members of the Council Corps, National Security Advisor and other advisors to His Excellency the President, former Speaker of the National Chief of Defense Staff, Gambian Forces, and the Inspector General of the Gambia Police Force, Armed and Security Service Chiefs, Colonial officers and senior officers here present, heads of government departments, NGOs, parastatals, private companies and institutions, regional governors and stakeholders, religious leaders, members of the press, esteemed invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. All other protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good morning to you all. I am Major Malik Sanyang, Director of Press and Public Relations of the Gambian Forces, and it is both an honor and a solemn privilege to serve as the ceremony on this historic occasion, which is the 61st Independence Anniversary of our beloved Republic. On behalf of the National Organizing Committee, I would like to welcome you all to the Makati Square in Banjul on this fateful Wednesday, the 18th day of February 2026. On this very ground and across this sovereign land, we gather not merely to commemorate a date, but to reaffirm a destiny. On 18th February 1965, the Union Jack was lowered and our national flag rose with quiet dignity into the Gambian sky. There were no thunderous cannons announcing our birth into history, only the steady resolve of a people determined to govern themselves. That moment was not only symbolic, it was transformational. It marked the transfer of responsibility from colonial authority to the sovereign will of the Gambian people. Independence declared to the world that the Gambia bears no allegiance to any external power, that sovereignty resides exclusively in her people, that our territorial integrity is inalienable, and that our political destiny shall be determined by Gambians for Gambia in accordance with our laws and democratic principles. These were not mere proclamations, They were solemn commitments. 61 years on, we stand as beneficiaries and custodians of that commitment. From our modest beginnings, our nation has advanced in infrastructure, education, healthcare, transportation, and professional capacity. We have strengthened democratic governance and deepened our institutional maturity. Yet, progress must never breed complacency. Independence is an event confined to history, not. It is an obligation renewed in every generation, just as ours. In our midst are representatives of every sector of our society, judges, parliamentarians, members of the executive and private sector, farmers and fishermen, students and professionals, persons with disabilities, cultural and religious leaders. Independence belongs equally to all. Our diversity is not a fault line. It is a foundation. When we march together, we demonstrate that unity is not uniformity. It is a shared purpose. For the armed and security services, our presence today is not merely ceremonial. We stand as guardians of sovereignty, defenders of territorial integrity, and guardians of peace and stability. Even under the hardest sun or the heaviest rain, we march in disciplined resolve because the defense of the homeland is a sacred trust to us. We salute our founding fathers whose foresight secured our freedom. We honor those who have served and continue to serve in the preservation of peace and national cohesion. We reaffirm that our democratic republican values, accountability, justice, participation, and national unity remain non-negotiable. As we reflect on our journey, let us remember, independence is sustained not by rhetoric, but by responsibility, not by division, but by brotherhood, not by entitlement, but by service. The promise of 1965 is renewed in 2026 in our collective aspirations. Therefore, we remain steadfast in purpose, unshaken in patriotism, and unwavering in our commitment to building a nation enough in spirit to accommodate all her sons and daughters. One people, under one flag, guided by one constitution. To witness the inspection of the troops on parade and the march past of our armed and security forces, let us behold more than synchronized steps. See a living symbol of discipline, unity of command, and unity of a nation. Different institutions, one mission. Service to the Gambia, ever true. On that note, I have the singular honor to announce the inspection of the troops on parade by the reviewing officer, His Excellency, President of the Republic of the Gambia and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces, His Excellency Mr. Adam Barrow, GMRG. Parade Commander, sir.
Hey! Jump!
Uncle Modu Malonak.
Well, that was, Major Malik Sanyang, who is the Director of Press and Public Relations of the Gambia Armed Forces. They are giving us that background information about independence, just as we've been discussing here on this panel, with Mr. Mboch and Mamna Buka. Well, there you have the parade commander, Lieutenant Colonel Ambrose Da Costa, where, marching towards the president to ask for permission for the president, who is also the commander-in-chief, to inspect the parade.
Up 24 officers, 541 other ranks in open order, ready for your inspection, Your Excellency.
also religious and so heroic in that. Sally, this Fodekaba is an interesting song, but we leave it at that. And we concentrate on proceedings here. Haji Sumundu, the president is inspecting the guard of honor. This is traditional, and it's also protocol when parade has to begin. The president inspects the guard of honor and accompanied by military officers who will be marching in slow motion. I don't know when you're president, how are you supposed to walk? Are you supposed to walk? But you can see it's also on his marching slowly, elegantly, and majestically as they will go.
Jallo, Maremu, handling of the Excellency President Adama Barrow, what he did on Makan Square, watna kiye kaka tumobe son kaso nyani masha Allah watni ni nyana to sikata kam jamangume ma hakati be bonondi akinye bana rotti godum yoppe ya hakati tan hay tanga den ko lakkan so nya hay keni lada nyen fone an kawanta o kono jamanen kota njurala wadni ke kota ibe so se ko ngene ibe so tafi ngaya ibe so da sigre ke kota no jamanen ni manke ki kota kana njurala ngane tanga den ko lakkan so fay sere be ko tan tunji yodi na ga se Kenya ni tangan ni manko ko be na ngar na daga di mamarani ay ni manko ko ni ngan sini mukhtaru kasam Seri Mukhtar Kendo Mamadou Ocham, Lieutenant General Kenyan Chief of Staff na Gambia Armed Forces yanda jama momentuji aray me personal bodyguard no ke akadi do match pass ngam wadni tangan no joronde sigi mo gemu de bari dirame match passing ki ngana nyemeta ke ngari jotte jama ben kado tere mo gemu der wadni ngana dalla golle sudi angana kara angana dalla golle zanne kem faamu no golle sudi angana kara na faamu jama mo match mo ari mo baye ken gonde aga nyirini amasigi mo do kabana bo kamuri ado ala bana ngadi mo pay seren tangal bala daga nan ko dina so ken no wonde ara kenyatu alla na ko alla nday mo no alla na dang wara kienga ari dum kay yankandi nan to mo to kedi na mo to ke bernu su yankandi aya nga jama ke so kagatu mo be tum kan won kan foyi alla ko yipore wadi ken no wonde wadni onake intende sa sa kono jama ngube hi excellency president arama baro away ni nandangi dirambe ti karang odo hibe game ti karanga ti makar square jamana ni manke agara pare mo be dabar denki ara pasam kulle nyarondi adi batta ma ke ngani vice president mohammed ara pasam kulle nyarondi bisu kem pare mo wada bar denki ya kadi o ga ko nagara mo be hibe gargati paranunga pollution immigration jari kendo fire rescue service fofo gan tangande pour la control iswaye militaire do no kaga sikiti halle ko ka halle ko kadi gonde fam sir tan ngala ci su nyala yalla do di rek ko da wore ko da ne ngam nan do ko da no go ko nan tan me do sina bane bi do tumit kenga ke tan me do sina bane bi do tamido bane di kenga ken hakati dile ni anot nan di jama ngumo ngari ni ngadaga bari alhamdulillah wadni kari masha Allah Allah do war jaga jama ngumi angar nan jamani nyimi gara sewe kitari aga hinne no ngani dum ga kan den idi kana amel den ngar jagan den war jagan den khali se war jagan ko rel angar nan da ata nga jamani ke mo ndaru war gabe al so ngani jamani ke daga kanenga kenan hi excellency president Adama Barrow ne wadni ara layru xamne do nutu kenan ti kurampino godunga na jamani ke wadni kuncuri tawe nankite lenki ana fotana kono na nanti lahiru hanu tanano mubal lahiru hanu kongo continue wadna ngane president of the republic Mr. Adama Barrow wadna ngane nuwal Abdoulaye Cham ado Sali Jaju Alhaji Modi Diouf
lami kabele na independent e baji jimamba jimeti maje ti Gambia e no kor ti maje ti ko famu kutu ani ku bobo kan manyon ko ku ligi ten ko ya kolla maje ko fam ku bam mang kon ko meti ko ya ke mo famu Gambia ko ngole maje fam ko man ko kano e ka kana ko le kan ko ceremonial dance wa ho baji ja wonu manyon wo sume wala wo sumu mo mo ko kemeno man ku jawdi woto nye arunga iti mo fam pana ban ka ngomora ka chila kan manyi kona de kane koya bala bu boli nyawo nyambara man ko jumum tata bete jumeti wa waran ni bakana mu ban kan banja bane iti ku soja ke ngone Gambia am ban ko ku rongo ni ka pana ku chila ko to si ja ku banja kan ku pur man Gambia police bane bil menen la kiti karam ni nabi a president na wasanke ma ban woto tate momo di baye yeti banjul odo ronde kambajo independent e mo famiti Gambia simi sone bu kanku feji di yokon nanu manje nono baja mo fanga fole la ay baje fuko en manje yo independent e baja mi kele fanfan e kapana keti kapoyan kapana keti juwe kapana keti panaketi kurang ay di waya boyem di wala ja lok ngawi ya wuju nya cem aron gaiti mafam abanum kango mara kanawara makan di mafam be wombul si projet kaseti kurang ay san manju so na rokundere Gambia nye kone wanu manju wo pina buisim kebe ya bukan kone bukan kubaki kunyen burong baba di kurang di fulaka for lo yise ne ja di futire manju independent ubi jare panaketi kakaranga si university si baneri no nangam be baju independent ko baju university college yo midi college kila fanka ni ko baju be ba barnye baba man jo hani basi baba ju ko mo ke yan man university of the Gambia ere wuto ko baja ba university yeti ko ka ya ko ne MBI no barnye kanka yo university yeti ko ka kan man ko war Gambia college ban man no college nie buru yo man kay university ban man ju chaaka di ko wanya bo ko karange man ko wala kamburo ka bo woto di ka pana ke ka karanga ko e jay fu ci de di ko e baje ka pana ko ci bi jadi uche ko nie wuru nga baba man jo bu gal bu bajo bakana kadu man ko ko bi su se fati ara fa o e mo di su ko soli man ko bi kuro abe ban wara do burom urunga uroka boli bobanu manjo bobo bajami woto nye president na bamban kan ngomora kan manyo ko namba ko mekane eta I think isu
Your Excellency.
Here, assembled here. Before then, I believe we're going to have some form of a national anthem before that begins. Let's see how proceedings go on here. But now, as you can see in your screen, so if you're listening to radio, what's happening here now is it is right at the conclusion of the inspection of guard of honor by His Excellency, the President, His Excellency Ada Barrow. And once he gets to his destination, he'll mount the days and then parade will begin. And like I indicated earlier on, the parade is here led by the Gambia Armed Forces marching band, and the Gambia Armed Forces will lead, followed by that is all the detachments of the Gambia Armed Forces, including the Navy. Then you will have the police detachment, the general duty police officers, and the PIU, and then that will be followed by the Gambia Immigration Department, and the prison service will follow that, and the fire and rescue services and the Gambia Revenue Authority will follow. So, well, after that, we will see the arrival of the Gambia Police Band. They will be leading the march past of school children, and like we heard from master of ceremony, that will have also a change of master of ceremony at the time. The director of press, Ami Wujan Sisoho, will take the stage and MC those proceedings where the president will sit and watch school children and voluntary service organizations marching past him. And then, he will deliver his speech, and then the parade will conclude with all the security services marching off, and the children and voluntary service organizations. Abla Cham, fim nekk ni aga nañ.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now witness marching in the following sequence. They will march in slow and will break into quick time, advance in review order, and will fire 3 volleys for Joe, to be followed by 3 hearty cheers for His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambian Forces. And this shall be followed by the national anthem to be played by the Gambian Forces Band before the parade will march off. Parade Commander, sir.
Slow! Arms! We'll march past in slow and in quick time. In T-shape formation. Advance in review order. By the center. Slow! March!
dana am jamono boo xam ne feneen da nga koy lem te ko séddandi loolu yëpp ak teraanga la de du ne dañ ko def rek ngir taaral lii waaye loolu yëpp duñ jàng la ndax benn woot commande laay wax kenn ku nekk def loola c'est-à-dire loolu tàggat la waaw dafa am lu mu firnde dafa am lu mu firnde
buñ toogee seetaan Gambia ñu xam ne ñii ñun ñoo leen bàyyi maaj bi waaye ñoom dañ ko beesalaat gën koo rafetal gën koo def mu am melokaani Gambia.
tali Gambia moo dàq maaj Afrique tout ñëpp d'accord nañ ci loolu képp ku fi ñëw doon gan boo ñëwee boo seetaanee suñ maaj paas gis nga gan yi fi Alaaji Modou Diouf tudd léegi nii boo ñibbee rek xel li muy njëkk a def rek mooy man su ma mënoon a gis njiiti soldat yi nettalil ko li Gambia soldat yi Gambia doon maaje ak seen police ndax lii du may yàlla may la rek dañuy d'accord rek ne may ak yàlla la li nga jàng mën naa am rëq-rëq waaye li yàlla maye amul benn rëq-rëq sa li seetal lii rek.
waaw dëgg la xam nga yenn réew yi soo demee ci seen indépendance ay ngànnaay la ñoo génnee waaw ay fetel ay aircraft ay hélicoptère bare la ñoo génne di wane ay ngànnaay ñun nag xëy na tolluñ ci ngànnaay yooyu waaw waaye nag li ñu fi angale yi li ñu fi tàggatoon te jamono jooju Ablaye boobu ami amudoon dama doon ñëw sali mu tardé boobu ami amudoon field force moo amoon ak police waaw ñoo daan maaj field force jamono jooju boobu leen njàng mi sax soriwut na nga am kattan gi boobu kulus moo fa nekk nga am commande colonel Ndaw Njaay
yaakaar naa ne jigéen a mu fa woon
waaw boobu jigéen ñi bari ñoo ci service bi non benn jigéen bi njëkk a ñëw foog naa su ma fàttewul police bu jigéen bi njëkk a solu nekk police bi mooy Ami Njaay su ma fàttewul waaw ci police bi foofu la commencé mooy Ami Njaay yee waaw kon naa réer na léegi yal na ko yàlla yërëm su ma ko juumul waaye boobu field force moo amoon field force yi ñoom da nga am kattan nga am taxawaay tàggat la dépôt waaw ñu naan la dépôt yéen mooy fi bakaw nekk boobu njàngam yi su ne la left right nga jaxasoo waaye dañ daan dem mara buluba wala ñaamoo bero mara mooy càmmoñ mooy left buluba right mara buluba mooy left right ci mara buluba boobu yéen ñu ne la ñaamoo bero ñu takkal la xeer fii takkal la ñax ci nga mun a ràññee lim la commande bi RSM bi di wax ne su la ñaamoo fi ñax mi nekk mooy càmmooy beroo mooy ndeejo ñaamoo beroo muy lef la gis nga xam-xam ni ñëwee foofu càmm xam
dox nañ
xam waaw ñoom jànga bi toolu doon comme fi mu nekkat ni ñu nekk ci service bi day nekk university graduate waaw waaye xam-xam yi ñu amoon gis nga ni ñoo tàggatee ñaamoo beroo maaj bi dox laa demee nag boobu field force ak police waaw ñoo daan maaj waaw nii la demee woon
ñu am police
waaw police moom police yàgg na depuis independent police moo fi nekkoon ami moo amuloon waaw waaye ñu déglu borom tambour yi ñu déglu tambour
Gambia National Army Detachment, white by the Gambian Navy, and now the Republican National Guards, followed there by the detachment from the general duties. And behind them too we have the Gambia Police Intervention Unit. Dignitaries shall we rise for the flag as it passes. Person colors should salute. Behind the color party is the... Shall we resume our seats, sir? Thank you. Behind the color party is the Gambia Immigration Department. And they are followed by the Gambia Prison Services, who are also duly followed by the Gambia Fire and Rescue Department. And last but not least, we have the Gambia Revenue Authority. And gallantly behind them we have the conducting warrant officers with their sticks, who are followed by the parade 2IC. That it is a living symbol of discipline that we are witnessing on the way. Not only that, it is also a unity of command and also signifies the unity of a nation. He has said that here we march, not as different institutions, but as one vision, the service to the Gambia. And behind him, marching gallantly, is Captain Molujo, the commander of the Gambia National Army Main Detachment. Behind him is the female detachment led by Captain Sirandu Gazama. And here comes the Gambia Navy Detachment by Navy Lieutenant Lalanjai. And the main detachment is led by Navy Lieutenant Aliu Sanyam. Behind them is the Republican National Guards. The main detachment led by Captain Chibu Da Costa. And the female detachment led by Captain Uwajo. Gambia General Duty Female Detachment is led by Deputy Superintendent Fatou Sanyam. And the main detachment is led by Jane Chor. The Gambia Police Intervention is led by DSP Mohamed M. Jallo. And the female detachment is led by DSP Fatou Fai Tujari. And permit me to remind us to stand for the flag salute accordingly. And we may resume our seats once the flag has passed. This standing and saluting of those in colors signifies our respect and benevolence towards the flags and the country in general. The color party is led by Senior Ensign Captain Janaba Sane and Junior Ensign David Seni Jame. The escorts are Sergeant Staff Sergeant Baji Pinta, Sergeant Jallo Fayol, and Petty Officer Fatmara Fofana. The Gambia Immigration Detachment is led by DSI Fatu Kamara. And the main detachment is led by DSI Mfansu Baji. The prison is led by DSP Usman S. Kamara, and the female led by DSP Tida SPR. Gambia Fire Rescue Services, Assistant Divisional Fire Officer Pantanjai, and Saho led the male and female detachments. And the GRA is led by Senior Collector Ismaila Jawara and Senior Collector Aminata Jagi. The conducting warrant officers marching behind them. Accordingly, 002 Sanya Yaya, assisted by 002 Baji Aruna, and 002 Jatamodu. The correct twice marches gallantly behind them, and the parade adjutant somewhere is Navy Lieutenant Adamajan. Master melodiously leading the troops is Captain Mahmoud Okoli. And the drum major is Kopul Isaac Njai.
mota kum ala no nit ñi performance be keri Abdoulaye Cham yaakaar naa ne man jamono ji dama bëggoon a teg microphone bi xam naa next recruitment dinaa si bokk loo wax nag
Your Excellencies, dignified dignitaries here present, I am sure those of us who blinked have missed what had just happened. But don't be surprised, there is more to come.
Parade will form 2 ranks from 3 ranks. Form 2 ranks. Dressing. Inward dress.
Excellency, distinguished invited dignitaries, next on the program we shall witness the fire for joy. But let us please be informed that the firing that is supposed to happen is, that means it is harmless, and thus there is no cause for panic. Thank you for your attention, sir.
Parade will fire for a joy. Officers and callers, take post. Standing, load. Red, jump. Present.
Bokes amam bange ka fale fire of joy. Ha what?
Present from the
Musewo taleti moma nyanna kasila katun jura role be keri andu ngaje
ngaje barata mo polina tudi mu doki
yalo nying amaka mo warta bake
ha bare
dum fase mo kijo fara wala kama tetara deiri Gambia jan
na ya to la fire of joy wala mu fayro mi yanko bu sewo talem atani fayri dol man killing ha yajele
national anthem min kata nyola fana
wala buñate yalo national de nga fay janne ko duwalem banko dole kidi keso mi ka fayte wala ta ye kello ke ni ta dulalu janita fo ela banko so ndol man tambe wala ha salatul fatiha ka ta wala surwa jalo ka fole ko Gambia xamuñ xex Gambia xamuñ xulo salatul fatiha la jawara momé Gambia salatul fatiha kilingo wala ni jang yajel ninta dawde ko ali ngadwa be mo beng nisida ali ngadwa wo dua wala be jang ha wala ni keta sewo tati
Three hearty cheers in honor of His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces. So.
We remove headdress. Remove headdress.
Your Excellency, sir, if you may kindly come forward to take the three hearty cheers, sir. You are welcome, Your Excellency.
ibajela isingolu iba sabala nyami ni choko di moy mi mutayta nola
ani maaju fongo ni choko di mo
ablay ku ci am kuli
President and Commander in Chief
doko mun li ni ñu woné loyalty ku and ak mom gis nga ko dégg nga yuxo yi waaw légui nak comme li ma waxoon ca buntu bu njëkk ba rek kenn
Bread will replace headdress. Replace headdress.
The 3 hearty cheers shall be followed by the national anthem.
Slow! National food! Present!
Parade Commander Lieutenant Colonel Andrews da Costa Nalanye Bebari His Excellency President Adama Barrow be yiseno meti ko kubamban mukana moli tate kumamam be puru di baye mankunyila keti sikerembungas di ku police ko bel monon de jukum nyama momo uyentenora Lieutenant Colonel
In slow and in quick time. Advance in review order. Fire for joy and 3 hearty cheers. May I have your permission to march off the parade, Your Excellency.
The President yaakaar naa jox na ko ndigal mu ngi dellu waaw mu ngi dellu nga jële parade commander tumalami na ata President o duño ñini pour sai toli takele ye niyo kele kuo kono itol be fintila ka bayewo di Gambia police ban la ani karamto di ningol min yalon ko le match la hani biyabe diamu kande ila sojar kamola abe diamu kan tan ko bunda moli
abe yalon itolu ye kulu nyamin enin tolu sibu sabantol fatatale sibu sabanto e ka tarajele ella nyaton ko kuwo do fa ete tara kudo la min bari tolu ye mingo minke ya bondi en santo ni la santon ko ko nin lo nyin dato je mo kana tambe jang hanni wulu fa nata ite tambila ha
bari kuma kan kilo ngoy bebe tama
wala mi bebe kulurin kuma kili ka mo kilima la
immigration ting police ting
two holy obligations. Fasting the month of Ramadan by the Muslims and Lent by the Christians, showing the uniqueness of our country, known for its peaceful coexistence, interfaith harmony, and in some cases related by blood. Excellencies, distinguished guests, today is a significant day in our calendar. In the early years of nationhood, parents, teachers, various sectors of society get excited to celebrate our independence from British rule. However, many also look forward to the day, and this is manifested by a wonderful parade by our security forces as we just witnessed, but also a reflection of our achievements over the years since we had self-rule in 1965. It was through dialogue, negotiation, that we attained our political independence. To strengthen the unity of purpose through dialogue, as we have also witnessed, we'll be having the passed by students as they do every year. As we are witnessing the wonderful parade, Scout Band is doing a special entertainment, but also a march past leading the schools, athletes from lower to upper to secondary school. Gambia Scout Band. They are also followed by their Scout Masters, and the regional artists are also here, representing the different regions, some with their trophies to celebrate their achievements from the different regions. It is always a joy for the young ones to be among those identified, to be ones marching past His Excellency the President of the Republic and the athletes from the different regions are demonstrating that. Right now, they are passing by region, and I just saw region 6 passing from the Upper River region. The independence celebration this year has a significant prelude, which His Excellency President Adama Barrow since 2024 declared 16 February as a national day, when Gambians across all walks of life will come together to dialogue on a given theme to advance peace and development in our country. An initiative based on strengthening harmony among our Gambian citizens and to address our mutual concerns in governance and development. Today, 18th of February 2026, 21 schools have been identified to represent all the schools in the Gambia, from the lower basic to the upper basic and secondary schools. The secondary high schools are all present and represented here at the McCarthy Square. Very soon we will see them march past. The students from both conventional Western and Islamic religious schools, the madrasas, are part of the 60th celebration. Banjul, as some of the historians would narrate, and the history students, existed before the colonialists came to the island. Upon arrival, it was named Batos. In 1973, 3 years after the Gambia gained a republican status, the city regained its original name, Banjul. As the police band the police band are also leading the march past of the schools. We still, as they march past, we will use the opportunity to recognize dignitaries here present, including the former ministers and former ambassadors. We also recognize the presence of the mayor of Banjul and also a colleague from Yoff, who are all present. We have Mohammedan Lower Basic School. The schools are led by Mr. Musa Mendy, who is a doyen in the education sector, and Mr. Red. They are always there for the children. Muslim High School, followed by St. Joseph's Lower Basic School. Methodist Primary School also follow in their blue and white. And we have Kampama Lower Basic School in blue check and white. Reverend J.C. Fai Memorial Lower Basic School also follows. On days like today, we tend to remember the pioneers who fought for the Gambia to gain its independence. The lives of first President of the Republic, Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, Per Njai, Sajali Boja, Famara Wasature, among the lot. However, it also reminds us of women who were involved in politics like Mrs. Palmer. We now have Muslim Madrasa School passing, Wesley Primary School, my own alma mater, Albion also, my alma mater, and they're all passing in the green and gray khaki, and the check and khaki green check. We have St. Mary's Lower Basic School in red and white, also with their Gambian flag waving, and they're also among the representatives of the students. Hamza Barak Lower Basic School in green is also here, marching past, and the Royal Presentation School Banjul in blue and white, all well dressed, prepared, the girls in their skirts. And then we have another Arabic school passing by, along with Gambia Jahumpa Upper Basic School in gray and white. It reminds us of IB Jahumpa, the pioneers in Gambian politics. Reverend J.C. Fai Memorial School is also in brown and the tie and dye red. Upper Basic School in blue and white, followed by St. Augustine's Upper Basic in purple and white. I think white is a very prominent color as it represents peace and harmony. It is also important for us to express the importance of unity and peace in our development. Now we have in the senior schools passing another Reverend J.C. Fai Memorial Senior Secondary School and the Gaba Jahumpa Senior Secondary School. We have a lot of girls among them, those who are marching past, and Gambia Senior Secondary School, and it is one of our alma maters. I'm sure I've seen some of the students from the school are giving them an applaud, and that is really welcome. And you have St. Augustine's Senior Secondary School. Oh, Mr. Kate is saying it's his alma mater. Okay, and thank you very much, parents, guidance, and all those who made it possible for the students to come out here today and celebrate with us this memorable day. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about women in politics, we always think of women like Ajani Masata Sane Bojang, the first Gambian woman who has been elected in office as a parliamentarian. As we are seeing a group of women also beautifully dressed, and they are also under the leadership of Valde, marching to show solidarity. With the beautiful outfit, I think it is beautiful on this day, this sunny but also cool day. As I was trying to explain, women in politics, we remember Ajani Masata Sane, may her soul rest in peace. She was among the dynamic women who led women and gave them the courage. However, we have in our midst also former Speaker of the National Assembly, and we are told that Madam Rena is around. Along with the great women we have had also, among them the former Vice Presidents. We also have Honorable His Excellency Usainu Dabo, along with former Vice President Aja Fatmata Tambajang and Her Excellency Dr. Aisa Ture. They are all among us celebrating this important day. As we prepare, we will remind ourselves that we are told that also former deputy speakers are around, and it seems that all dignitaries in the Gambia who have currently serving and who have served they are here with us and recognize the importance of this day as our national day. The diplomats representing their countries, and we are told that also ministers from African countries are here at a meeting, and they give us the honor of being part of this celebration led by their host, Honorable Ibrahim Asila. The dynamism of our population and resource mobilization and management contributes to the transformation of the country is experiencing. Therefore, having the theme harnessing the human capital and infrastructure resources for an inclusive leap to the future is befitting. After 61 years, definitely we need dialogue to continue, but also it is demonstrating how far we have come. For all of us together, whether you are here present, watching from home, or listening to on any radio station, it is our responsibility to harness our human capital and infrastructure resources for the next generation. Excellencies, distinguished invitees, boys and girls, it is important for us to remind ourselves, especially the young ones, we should not take things for granted. It has come a long way. Few days ago, the former Minister of Works, at a dialogue, at the National Dialogue, shared with us historic facts where we are, where we were, and today where we are. He mentioned having one main street, third road, and today we are talking about over 800 kilometers of road. We are talking about electricity all over the country. When some 61 years ago did not dream of seeing electricity in their homes, today we are enjoying it, and through the universal access to electricity, almost 90% of rural Gambia have access to electricity, which is worth celebrating. And as we mentioned, development is dynamic, is continuous, and we have to continue to work hard as a nation. As a people, we understand our diversity, but that should be a strength for us, but not to divide us. We may not belong to the same political parties, but we have a single purpose: to advance the Gambia in different ways. Wherever we are, wherever we find ourselves, we urge all of us to work together. That doesn't mean that we should be in the same political party or belief system. No, it means that we all belong to Gambia, and there's only one Gambia, and as Gambians, we love our country. Therefore, we continue to urge ourselves that since His Excellency declared 16th of February as a National Dialogue Day, we have taken it upon ourselves to ensure that we go by that. Every year, we come together, choose a theme that is of concern for the current reality, discuss it, share our views, and see how we urge government to continue to work on its development agenda, taking the considerations, the recommendations as part of their considerations for the development of this country. And we are proud that a few days ago, over 300 Gambians sat together among themselves, young and old, students, officials, ordinary citizens, discussing issues of harnessing our human resource capital, but also the infrastructure we have, whether it's road, whether it's electricity, whether it's education, whether it's in the health sector, wherever we are able to. Especially in this day of digital age, we all know that we cannot do without it. So therefore, the Gambia advancing through those structures is a welcome address. At this point, we have been alerted that His Excellency is ready and set to address the nation, especially the school children here present today. On that note, Your Excellency, President Adama Barrow, Commander-in-Chief, and the President of the Republic of the Gambia, we invite you, sir, to come and deliver your address.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The floor is yours.
Your Excellencies, the First Lady Fatouba Barrow and Madam Sajalo Barrow, Your Excellency, Vice President, former Vice Presidents present, my Lord Chief Justice, Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Members of Cabinet and the National Assembly, Lord Mayors of Banjul and Kanifing municipalities, regional governors and executive coordinators, chairpersons of area councils, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, government officials and service chiefs, religious leaders, distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as we commemorate the 61st anniversary of our independence, we are marking much more than the passage of time. Rather, we are celebrating and reflecting deeply and proudly on what independence truly means in practice. Independence is not only a historical milestone, it is a living response that demands vision, discipline, and collective effort from all of us. It embraces the capacity to chart our own development path, harness our own resources, and shape a future anchored in dignity, opportunity, and shared prosperity. This year's theme, harnessing the Gambia's human and infrastructural resources for an inclusive leap to prosperity, captures the very essence of our National Development Plan, IRWA. This plan translates political independence into economic transformation, social inclusion, and national self-belief. IRWA provides the strategic direction for building a resilient economy, strengthening institutions, and ensuring that no Gambian is left behind. 61 years ago, our forebears fought not merely for a flag or an anthem, but for the right to decide our destiny. Their sacrifices laid the foundation for a sovereign Gambia, governed by the will of its people. Today, IRWA stands as a modern expression of that historic struggle. A Gambian-owned blueprint, driven by Gambian priorities, and focused squarely on improving the lives and livelihoods of Gambians. Fellow Gambians, in our early years of independence, the guiding philosophy of nation building was grounded in the belief in hard work, resilience, honesty, and collective responsibility. These values taught us to depend on our own strength, work together, and place national interests above individual gain. Today, as our nation matures and our development challenges become more complex, we need to progress through our National Development Plan, IRWA. IRWA, meaning development, implies transforming resilience into strategic planning, hard work into productivity, and collective efforts into inclusive growth. Independence is hollow if it does not deliver results. Under the IRWA framework, we have deliberately focused on the foundations of sovereignty, health, energy, infrastructure, education, food security, and democratic governance, because a nation that cannot power its homes, feed its people, educate its youth, or protect rights cannot fully claim its freedom. Since 2017, and consolidated under IRWA, we have expanded and upgraded health facilities across the country, strengthened service delivery, and invested in human capital so that access to healthcare is no longer a privilege but a right. In the energy sector, the expansion of the national grid and the commissioning of renewable energy projects, including large-scale solar investments, reflect our commitment to energy independence. Climate responsibility and economic competitiveness. Our roads, linking rural farms to urban markets and communities to opportunities, are not merely infrastructure. They are at risk of inclusion and national integration. From the OIC roads to feeder roads across the regions, these investments are reducing isolation, facilitating trade, and opening up new economic opportunities for our people. They symbolize independence that connects rather excludes. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, at the heart of Yirwa is our renewed drive for food self-sufficiency, agricultural modernization, rural transformation. By supporting farmers with improved inputs, equipment, extension services, market access, we are reclaiming control over our food systems. Additionally, we are reaffirming the principle that a sovereign nation must be able to feed itself. Agriculture does remain central to creation, poverty reduction, and national stability. Independence also demands freedom with accountability. Building on the democratic foundation laid by our pioneers, my government has expanded civic space, strengthened institutions, established the National Human Rights Commission, and reaffirmed for the rule of law. These measures are essential for consolidating democracy, promoting justice, and ensuring that governance remains responsive to the needs and aspirations of the people. Fellow Gambians, no nation can leap forward without investing in its people. Through Yirwa, education has been repositioned as a strategic pillar of development. The rollout of the competency-based curriculum, reforms in early grade language policy, and the transformation of key institutions into universities delegated to education and civil service excellence are designed to produce skills. Values, innovation, and professionalism align with national development priorities. Our youth, who represent the largest share of our population, are not a challenge to be managed, but a resource to be unleashed. Through skills development, entrepreneurship support, digital innovation, targeted youth financing, we are laying the groundwork for a generation that will define Gambian independence in economic terms through enterprise, productivity, creativity, and resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, we admit that challenges persist. Youth unemployment, cost of living pressures, climate shocks, and global economic uncertainties remind us that independence is a journey, not a destination. Yirwa teaches that resilience lies in planning, unity, and discipline. National cohesion, social solidarity, and shared sacrifice above politics, ethnicity, or region, we will overcome the challenges. To our civil servants, I reaffirm my government's zero tolerance for corruption, inefficiency, and complacency. Independence required integrity in public service, efficiency in delivery, and accountability at all levels. We will continue to strengthen systems that ensure public resources serve the public good and deliver value for money. Before I conclude, I wish to express my profound appreciation to the parents, teachers, and especially our children and young people whose participation in today's celebration and colorful march past have added pride, joy, and national spirit to this historic occasion. Your discipline, energy, and patriotism reflect the promise of our future and the values we seek to nurture as a nation. I also extend sincere gratitude to our defense and security services for their selfless service, professionalism, outstanding participation in in this Independence Day anniversary might pass. Their unwavering commitment to safeguarding our sovereignty, peace and stability remain a cornerstone of our independence and national development. In conclusion, fellow Gambians, the story of Gambia at 61 is one of renewed confidence and purposeful direction. Through Yirwa, we are converting independence from a historical achievement into a daily reality, measured in better schools, stronger institutions, reliable energy, productive farms, empowered youth, and inclusive growth that touches every community. On behalf of the government and the people of the Gambia, I extend sincere appreciation to our development partners for walking this journey with us, respecting our ownership, aligning with our priorities, and supporting our national vision. As we celebrate today, let us recommit ourselves to the ideals that brought us here: unity, hard work, self-belief, discipline, and love for country. Together, let us continue building a peaceful, prosperous, and resilient Gambia for present and future generations. Happy 64th anniversary. Long live the Gambia. God bless the Gambia. I thank you.
Well, there you had the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Adama Barrow. They are delivering his 61st independence address to Gambians, and he has again called for the need to, ensure unity, hard work, self-reliance, and love for country. And he has also, renewed his government, what he called his government's, stance against corruption and efficiency. Mr. Mboch, what's your take of this statement?
Well, I suspect that a good number of people will say that we are not sure about that zero tolerance, because most of the criticism is that the reforms that we should make really to try to stamp that out, it's been delaying, really. So, but one would expect the president to say something like that. But generally, it was a good speech. We were expecting something like that anyway, weren't we? He was bound to blow his trumpet. Yeah. Obviously, one can see tangible advances. People say it all the time. And he acknowledges, well, the other difficulties that are still waiting for him in his entry when he returns from today's holiday to work. So,
and on his case, on talking about corruption, which is very important, we do have the Anti-Corruption Act and we do have an Anti-Corruption Commission. But talking about implementation, let's talk about the attitude that we have towards implementation. I think it's one of the biggest issues that we have. We have all of these institutional reforms that we're doing, but to implement it is still an issue. So I think that's one of the challenges that we need to pay attention to. I think he mentioned something very important as well when he was talking about a nation that cannot feed itself can't really be independent. So that's very important. I think Gambia is still at a position where rice, which is one of the staple foods that we consume, is still being imported. Almost most of the things that we consume or utilize are still being imported, which is a big problem. We talk about self-reliance a lot, but how effective is that? And what are we doing to change it at the end of the day? There's a lot of money being poured into infrastructure. There's youth support, gender inclusive initiatives as well. But infrastructure can't really drive itself if you don't have the human capital to move it. So I think that's where we need to move now. There's a lot of improvements in TVET related education, just education in general in the Gambia, which I think is very important because we need those skills to be self-reliant. So I think it's a really great speech. I loved it. And also just to touch on the fact that now with Gambia being part of the African Continental Free Trade Area, I feel like that is also an aspect we can focus on. We are exposed to a market that has over 1 billion people. What are we doing to cater to it? I'll leave it at that.
Intra-Africa treat
yes.
is still lacking. Mr. Boy, is there one or two things that you were expecting to hear him address and he didn't?
No, in terms of expectation, not really. That was why earlier on, before his speech, you asked me if you were writing the speech, how would you make it? I don't think I would have made it sound like that.
Why?
But I'm not going to make it party political. One would sort of try to rally the whole nation. I will appeal to other aspects, other historical aspects in a way perhaps that would inspire the next generation. This really, what was the name of our development plan?
Yiriwa.
Yeah. Absolutely. And because we call this sort of a national event. My speech would have been slightly more different, would have perhaps invited everybody onto the fold, as it were. But maybe I'm a bit too idealistic, given that we are in an independent election year. So the electioneering starts now, really.
Wouldn't you say because we are in election year is the reason why he crafted his speech the way that he did? Because he has something to prove.
Yes, and the way he left it short, and the ones he highlighted, as it were, some of the achievements he highlighted, that's what everybody is talking about.
Health facilities,
but
electricity, road networks. And
yeah, but again, the challenges, he just sort of swept through them. But the challenges are far more difficult, much bigger than what we've achieved so far. So we have to be honest about these things. The challenges are far more difficult. The infrastructure, the roads, the electricity, but institutionally, there's no reform really going on. From all the parliamentary select committees, there are reports. Be the National Audit Office, there are reports. Most of these reports, when you look at it, financial mismanagement is big. And if we are told that the Ministry of Local Government, isn't it, and Lands, is really the line ministry of, the ministry of some of these, what do you call it, the local government, if you're going to tell me that, but it appears as if all the mismanagement we've been seeing in the line ministry, have you been doing your oversight rule? So there are issues with running our institutions, making them more efficient, and in the end, that will determine, I think.
And I think the most concerning thing for me is the 1997 Constitution. I think that not being reformed is, I think that's the biggest challenge we have right now.
Yeah, I think for me, when I talk about the 1997 Constitution, people might say, okay, it's not as bad as people are trying to make us believe about the 1997 Constitution. Yes, I mean, there are some parts of the Constitution that we need to amend and change, but it's about implementation. You can have the laws and policies in place, but if they are not implemented,
it's just talking about the fact that the Gambia has grown past the 1997 Constitution. It's really old. There's certain things that are in place that might need laws that are not in the Constitution as of the moment. So amending it, reforming it, and then talk about implementation, which is, like I said, a very huge issue that we have. Yes.
No, but for me, my fear is that, yes, he may decide to ignore all the draconian laws, we call it. They're still in there.
They're still there.
Absolutely.
We are just enjoying his generosity.
But that's it. So, but I am not secured, if you know what I mean. I am not I have no defense in law. Really, what we rely on is his discretion. I'm not sure if that is enough. So we haven't made much strides in that, isn't it? So this is really, and that could be perhaps a metaphor for all these transformations that we want to effect, isn't it?
Most definitely.
Things are really very slow in that area. Most studies, surveys about this place, they tend to point out that security sector reform slow, institutional reform slow, this is slow, everything is slow in that way. In the same way that perhaps with Jawara's period, people used to say that there was the institutional weakness. Institutional weaknesses made all these public officials do whatever they needed to do, but in the end, perhaps that contributed to his downfall. Maybe that's a lesson to learn if you don't strengthen the institutions, then the certain changes, you cannot make them. In these areas, perhaps it's much easier in many ways, the roads and electricity and the like.
Yes.
But in other areas, we're all talking about the cost of living. It takes different skill sets, different ways of doing things to do something about that. Being an import-dependent country, how far would that go? We're not really making much strides. You may stabilize a bit, but the slightest thing anywhere in the world, it's not in your hands anymore.
It's not in your hands.
So we are just so vulnerable in so many different areas. You may, in the early parts of our independence, the first 10 years, we were doing so well, per capita income was high, and then inflation low, all sorts of things. Then suddenly, drought happened and all the things, and suddenly all the advantage you had was gone.
Yeah.
So it is really a very, very vulnerable, precarious situation we are in. I think one should be worried about that. It's good, you know, is touting up the optimist anthem, as it were, there. But for us, these are very precarious times. Look around the world. Anything, price of oil, war there, anything, then we are in trouble.
Yeah, and the issue of irregular migration as well.
Yes, I was going to mention that because we, a lot of the times, just yesterday when they were having the national press briefing, the Minister of Information was asked that question, what is being done to curb irregular migration in the country. And his answer to that was, because a lot of the times we factor these things to, there's not enough employment for the youth in the country. And his answer was, usually it's not always lack of employment that is causing these people to go abroad or to do irregular migration, because some of them would have businesses but would choose to sell it and still do irregular migration. So I think maybe we need to build an economy that is so powerful that people don't see the need to move outside and go find things there, because you already have it here. You have something to hold on to, you have something that gives you hope. But I don't think we necessarily have it right now. And I would love to talk about if there needs to be an attitudinal change when it comes to things like that, because we talk about implementation, we talk about reforms, we talk about building things, but what is the attitude that we have as Gambians when it comes to our leaders, when it comes to us, the voters, that needs to change for things in Gambia to change?
That is precisely, that was the, was listening the other day to Lee Kuan Yew. We love studying his style, because he was we had a third world country, he inherited a third world country from the British, and did something of a minor miracle. He said, once we created the infrastructure, yes, you've got the roads, the electricity, and try to bring in the technology. Now, how do you change the attitude to match that modern infrastructure?
Right.
So we've not been able to do so. And in fact, he delivered a speech around 2000 where he was considering the third world hope or despair, saying to the audience that before the 1965 they get independence, in 1964 he went around to 17 African countries. Wow. Yeah, they were of the same generation. And studying, looking at what was working, what wasn't. And when he saw the model in Tanzania with Nyerere and with Kenneth Kaunda, he wasn't sure. Even in India with Pandit Nehru, he wasn't sure. So he went home, he did his own thing. So this is it. How do we reorient minds, as it were, to chime in with this sort of this drive? There's somewhere we want to go. But in a way, we undermine ourselves. You establish institutions, but then you don't have the right habits to make the institutions work for you. So we are undermining ourselves in that way.
I'm so glad you said that, because we need to do away with this mindset we have that Gambia is such a small country with lack of resources. We don't lack resources. We lack the drive to move those resources, and I think that's the problem.
Well, at the moment, the president is still at the McCarthy Square. Greeting, some of the dignitaries that are currently at the square to witness the celebration. mbokk ñi amee ina siran QTV rek leen waxal na ina siran QTV ba léegi président mu ngi fale ca Makati Square fi nga xam ne pare na garal ay kàddoom ci celebration dégg ngeen ci waxaam yi wax na lu bari li nga ne moo nekk di xew gannaaw bi ñu moomee suñu boppa ak Gambia fu mu toll léegi yëkkatu yu bari am na waaye tam nangu na ne am na ay jafe-jafe yoo xam ne yow tam ba léegi mu ngi am waaye nag si wàllum corruption laal na si tuuti te ñaax na Gambien si yëpp pour ñu ñëw manko nekk benn gom suñu boppa liggéey yi anden bugga suñu réew bokk na si wax yoo xam ne président bi gaaral na ko ci kaddu mi nga xam ne joxe na ko tey ci independence address bi baɗigol hane sa en alɓe QTV joɓe kan hane sa en banko ñatango his excellence président adama barrow aɓe square to hane sa en animol ɓe ñoo konto gam mol mi ala ko inara pour ka maɓe ñing célébration to ala diyama kono kamen ke samo sang ala diyama kono ay molu dani pour ngake clinti nga banko kanu nga doko ke pour c'est-à-dire but I understand my colleague not Ansumana. Usman Jata is at the square and is with one of the honorable ministers. Usman, if you can hear me, all over to you. I think we're having a sound issue there. Comme nga fale nyamen banko nyata ko dia mo kono ay mol dani pour nga clinti nga doko ke nga lamfan na fana nga banko kanu isaje la praga banko sambada meton ci futano je I
march past of the security forces exemplary, beautiful. We are seeing the march past of the school children, remarkable. It gives us all a lot of hope in the progress of this country. But of course, to cap it up all, is a statement by His Excellency. Phenomenal progress in all the sectors. Health sector, agriculture, education, everywhere. The electricity, energy sector. And capping his statement on zero tolerance. That is very, very phenomenal, and we are all happy.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words. Now, here we have got Minister Gomez. How are you? Just want to engage in a brief moment. What's your take on this year's 64th Independence? You're live with QTV.
Well, we are 61st Independence under the leadership of His Excellency President Adama Barrow. It's a great day for the Gambia. It's a day where we reflect about our future, our destiny, and our independence, where now one Gambia, one people, we develop this country. This is a time when the Republic comes together, and the republics will now bring different regions, different ethnic groups, different denominations, all to come together, serving the Republic. Everybody transforming themselves as laborers of the Republic, so that we build a new Gambia where people come together in one umbrella, one family, to build a peaceful and developed Gambia.
What are we expecting as the Gambia celebrates 64th? What are we expecting from the education sector?
Well, a lot of development. We're going to come up with new policies. We send the signal. This year, we're going to have a new policy of SCI, Science, Technology, and Innovation. We're going to also have an Academy of Science since independence, 1965. So the 61st independence, that's the time we'll deliver the Academy of Science. But also that's the time when we're going to now come up with new Tibet centers, business, and also aquaculture and also fisheries. These are things we never had. This is what we're going to do, among other issues. But this is the time we're going to send the signal. Also going back to USET and start the new phase of USET, where we come up with new engineering programs in computer engineering, with all its other ramifications, and also other programs.
Thank you so much for that. We have got the Minister of here. Got the Minister of Defense here. We have engaged quite a number of ministers. We also want to know your take on the Gambia's 61st independence.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I think I've been fortunate to be part of this celebration, anniversary celebration, for a couple of years.
And today's was unique in the sense that the security forces and the defense forces displayed very, very strong skills. And I think we are all happy and satisfied. The message from the president was unique. It was about looking at what independence has brought for us as a country and how our future is defined in our independent journey. So really, it was a great day. We thank God for being part of it and being part of the executive at a time when Gambia is developing. Just 10 days ago, the president was in my village, switching on lights for 715 communities in the Gambia. It never happened in our 61 years. So this shows that currently we are preparing to transform this country. Thank you.
So much for those of them. Honorable, we would like to engage you. It's QTV, live at QTV. We want to know your take on the Gambia's 64th.
Well, it is a great occasion. We, on behalf of ECOWAS and ECOWAS institutions, we congratulate the Gambia and His Excellency the President, the government, and the people of the Gambia on this joyous occasion. We pray for the best for the country. We pray for stability and progress for this country and for the entire region. The Gambia stands very tall in the sub-region, and we do hope that gains that have been made so far will be maintained. We are very happy to be here, and congratulations to QTV as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful comments. That is the former ECOWAS president. Now, we get to interview more people here. It's live here happening at the Makati Square.
Welcome back.
Well, that's my colleague Usman Jata. They are speaking to some of the cabinet ministers who were at the celebration. I mean, you have heard from the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmad Lamin Samate, Minister of Higher Education, Professor Per Games, I mean, Minister of Defense, Babakar Ojub, and of course, I mean, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Umar Aliu Toure, all expressing their views. I mean, after yes, we can go back to Usman.
Excellent. It shows that, you know, we are maturing as a nation. It shows unity of purpose. It shows also strength in unity. The Gambia is 61 years old, and we are all proud of what we saw here. From the march past to the school children, it shows that we are all, you know, understanding the reason why we are a state. And for that purpose, I want to use the occasion to congratulate every Gambian and to urge everybody to put their hands on deck. A country can only move forward through the efforts of citizens. And whatever you do, it is your duty to make sure that you provide what you need to move on as a people. Thank you. Thank you.
That was the CES there giving us updates about this year's independence. Yes.
Thank you very much. We are very happy. First of all, thank God that we are able to witness it. And as the President has also said, we thank God that it coincides with the beginning of Ramadan and Lent. As this country, we are composed of Christians and Muslims. If our independence coincides with the fasting month, then that's a blessing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to thank God for that.
The President's message to them.
No, I think the President is very happy, like he says. You see, I mean, since independence, how much development has taken place in this country in terms of electricity expansion, in terms of the road network. So, I mean, the attendance of everybody also makes him very happy. So, and I think really we need to applaud all Gambians for that.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words. Like,
yesle chundorang yalo mimbe kerin baye woto janto hani bi his excellency president adama barrow ni molbe nyo konton kanne amna safo already bu kanon momo nata kala filani president katu hay abdoulaye cham lilu reyla gisante president face à face jokko loxo lolu lu reyla
sali gat weesu jox loxo président jox loxo serigne bu mag jox loxo ko xamne ni celebrity rek
am na rew yo xamne pour gis sen président
jafe na comme ñum niñ toge ni diakaro président Barrow waxtu nek.
Well, that was my colleague Usman Jata just speaking to the vice president as well, Mohamed B.S. Jallo. I mean, you have heard from all of them, expressing their satisfaction with the president's address, and of course, they sound very confident about the future of this country. Reflecting from where we started as a nation from 1965 to date. The future looks very promising according to them, but what is needed is attitudinal change and love for country, not just from the top, but from all of us. In every sector you are. Mr. Mboj, I know we
and it's also coincided with today being the first day of Ramadan, and at the same time the Lent for Christian community. So we are very happy, and we pray that the peace and stability that is in this country continues, because without peace and stability there is nothing, no development can happen. Without peace and stability, even the religion, we cannot follow it. So what I want to say is the peace and stability that is in this country should be jealously guided by everybody, whether those in government or those outside of the government. It should be the responsibility for all of us to make sure that we maintain peace and stability. Wonderful words.
That was the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority, Yankuba Dabo. We are speaking to Usman Jata, also sharing his views about the need for unity, for the development of the country. Mr. Mboj, Naps, we're running out of time. Finally, what's your final words before we wrap up this live broadcast?
We should remain positive, not thinking that we've botched independence. We haven't. It's just not possibly all of this that we're going through. It's a necessary phase of the emancipation project. So we're not losing. It's just that we're going through turbulence. It's like a flight, you're going through turbulence.
When you're taking off, when you're landing.
So no need to lose heart. It's way too early. 61 years.
It's way too early.
Way too early.
Young.
Even
We're
in an
still
individual's
way too
life,
young.
there's nothing. Much more so in a nation's life.
I choose to be optimistic about it. The president is very optimistic about it. He spoke about the Euro and National Development Plan, which it looks very promising. So we have something to look forward to, and I just encourage everyone to be hopeful and keep their eyes on the prize. Let's focus on the attitudinal change that we were talking about here just now, and let's be optimistic about everything. I think I'm hopeful for the future of the Gambia.
Thank you so much, Man Nabuka, my colleague, and Mr. Modou Mboj. Thank you so much for joining me on this live broadcast of the Gambia 61st Independence celebration. And a special thanks to our entire production team, to our team in Banjul, and of course those behind the scene here at the studio, Bala Musa and the entire team. Thank you so much, viewers, for watching. And until then, we wish you once again a happy Independence celebration and Ramadan Mubarak and happy Lent to all of you. Bye-bye.